Before we dive in, I need to set the stage. I'm Brazilian, and right now, Brazil is witnessing a massive Chinese car invasion. Every day, new brands are landing here, challenging everything we thought we knew about the local market. It's a total game changer. So let me ask you a quick question. Would you have the courage to bet nearly $30,000 on a car that promises more technology, more performance, and more engineering than the market leaders, but doesn't have the big name yet? Even more, would you trust your money to a project that clearly doesn't want to follow the traditional rules of the market? Hold that answer, because by the end of this video, you'll likely rethink several concepts you had about this category. Today, we're going to dissect the Changan UNI-T at a level you rarely see. No surface-level talk here. This is applied engineering, driving dynamics, market strategy, and real cost of ownership. And I'll start with a warning. This car isn't here to play. It's here to disrupt, and disrupt big time. But before we dive deep, leave a quick comment. Would you buy this car today or stick with something traditional? I want to understand the profile of who's watching this. Now, let's start with the heart of the beast. The 1.5 turbo Blue Core NE engine operates with a direct injection pressure of 5,076 psi, a level of pressure that puts it close to engines in much higher categories. This ensures extremely fine fuel atomization, improving thermal efficiency and power delivery. We're talking about 180 horsepower, but forget horsepower for a second. What really matters here is the 211 pound-feet of torque available at low RPMs. And here's a technical point few people mention. The torque curve of this engine is practically flat. This means you don't have peaks followed by drops, but rather a continuous and predictable delivery. In practice, this completely transforms drivability, especially in urban use where quick overtakes make all the difference. This is amplified by a low-inertia turbo, which drastically reduces response time. Translating, you step on it, it responds. No lag, no hesitation. Now check this stat. 0 to 62 in the 7.5-second range in an SUV at this price point. And this puts the UNI-T in a territory where it starts flirting with cars of a more sporty proposition. But power without control is useless, and this is where one of the most interesting parts of this project comes in, the 7-speed Wet DCT. Unlike dry dual-clutch gearboxes, which historically have overheating issues under heavy use, this one uses an oil bath for thermal dissipation. This allows for extremely fast shifts, about 0.2 seconds, without compromising durability. And there's more. The calibration of this transmission is adaptive. In other words, it learns your driving style. If you drive aggressively, it holds the gear and responds faster. If you drive smoothly, it prioritizes comfort and efficiency. This is software working with mechanics, and it changes everything. Now, a quick pause because this is important. I looked at the channel analytics, and over 99% of the people who watch this kind of technical content are simply not subscribed. That's right, 99%. So if you're enjoying this level of analysis, this is the moment. Click the button and join the 1% who actually want to understand the engineering behind a car. Moving on. Let's talk about driving dynamics, because this is where the UNI-T truly starts to pull away from its competitors. While many SUVs in this range still use a torsion beam rear axle, the UNI-T comes with multi-link independent suspension. And that's not just a spec sheet flex. This allows for much more refined control of the suspension geometry, improving stability, comfort, and grip. In corners, the car stays more planted. On uneven roads, it absorbs imperfections better. At high speeds, it transmits more confidence. It's a setup clearly designed for those who enjoy driving, not just going from point A to point B. Now stick with me here because this is a crucial part, the design. Many people look at it and think it's exaggerated, but it's not. The borderless front grille improves airflow, reducing turbulence. The sharp body lines help manage air around the vehicle. The V-shaped split spoiler isn't there by chance. It generates real downforce at higher speeds, and the retractable door handles reduce aerodynamic drag. All of this contributes to efficiency and stability. In other words, it's functional design, not just visual. Moving inside, the proposition changes completely. The UNI-T doesn't just want to be comfortable, it wants to be technological. The cockpit is clearly inspired by fighter jets, with total focus on the driver. The dual 10.25-inch screens are strategically positioned for easy reading and reduced distraction. The floating center console creates a sense of separation between driver and passenger, reinforcing this idea of control. The materials are surprising, plenty of soft-touch surfaces, refined trim, and a build quality that feels solid. The seats have great lateral support, which is rare in this category, and contribute to a firmer driving feel. But here's an important critical point. The rear space and the trunk are not the largest in the category. This car clearly prioritizes design and sportiness over maximum practicality, and this might weigh on your decision depending on your needs. Now, let's talk about onboard tech, because this is where the UNI-T enters another level. The Level 2 Plus ADAS package includes adaptive cruise control with stop and go, active lane keeping assist, and autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. All of this operates using millimeter wave radar and high-resolution cameras. And here's the thing, it's not just about having the tech, it's about how it works. In the UNI-T, these systems work fluidly, without abrupt interventions, which increases driver confidence. Now, let's talk about price, because this changes the whole analysis, around $30,000, and here is where the real game begins. When you put this value side by side with competitors like the Jeep Compass and the Toyota Corolla Cross, you start to see the UNI-T's positioning. The Compass offers tradition, a strong brand, and a wide service network, but it falls short in performance and, depending on the trim, suspension sophistication. The Corolla Cross is the benchmark for reliability and resale value, but it has a much more conservative approach and less focused on performance. The UNI-T delivers more tech, more performance, and a more advanced package for the same price. But this comes with a trade-off, and here's the part many people ignore: resale value. The brand is still building itself, which could lead to higher depreciation in the short term. If you change cars frequently, this matters. However, if you plan to keep the car longer, the equation shifts, especially because of the 7-year warranty offered in some markets, which is practically unheard of in this category. Regarding maintenance, it's also important to be rational. Direct injection engines require high-quality fuel and proper servicing. The Wet DCT, while robust, needs periodic fluid changes to ensure longevity. In other words, it's not a car to neglect maintenance, but that's not a problem. It's the price of technology. Now, we've reached the final point, and perhaps the most important one of this video. The Changan UNI-T isn't just a car, it's a mindset shift. It represents a new generation of products that aren't afraid to challenge the established standard. And that's uncomfortable. Now I ask you, and this time I'm serious, do you prefer to stay in the safe, the predictable, what everyone already knows, or are you willing to bet on something that delivers more engineering, more technology, and more performance for the same price? Comment below, because that choice says a lot about the kind of driver you are. And if you've made it this far, you already know you're not part of the 99%. So subscribe to the channel, because what's coming in the next tests goes even deeper.